I'm here with my guys, Rami and Josh. Look, these guys are fresh out of college. They eat, sleep, and breathe real estate. They're landlords, they're wholesalers, and they have some exciting things going on now with Novations as well. Yo, what's up, guys? I really appreciate you coming out here.
What's going on, Rich? Appreciate it.
What's up?
My guys, look, I gotta know, like most college kids, they're sleeping on their parents' couch, they're drinking beer. Like, tell me, like, how did you guys start out? How did you get into real estate? And I'd love to hear just kind of like your story on how you met and how you got into this.
Sure. So, and Rich, I was telling you earlier, so it's kind of funny how me and Josh kind of collaborated. At first, we did not like each other. I don't know what age it was, but we had we lived really close by each other. He was down the street. We just hated, it was like a big beef between us. It kind of died down after that. We moved on. But then I think it was 2019 when I don't know, a whole bunch of people came together. We met up. We went to, I think, Josh's apartment at the time or condo. And, we just kind of hit it off and started talking about money, what we should do. We loved real estate. And, that's kind of the beginning. Josh, if you want to say anything else.
I would say, yeah, like for us, we're looking at ways to get into real estate. And it just seemed like wholesaling was like the lowest barrier of entry. Because like we don't come from like monies of family. And so like, maybe a little bit of money stacked up, but not enough to go and start buying a bunch of properties. So we looked at wholesaling as kind of the in to get into real estate. And then from there, man, we've been doing it almost 2 years. And again, like you said in the introduction, like all we do is we put 12-hour days in, 6, sometimes 7 days a week. And we just are looking at deals constantly, doing deals constantly. And so it's really taken off from when we started. We just kind of welded the back door shut and we're like, we're doing this.
Nice. So you burned the ships, you were all in.
Yeah.
I'm sure when you started to where you are now, like there's been quite a few lessons. And did you guys get success right away, or do you have one of those stories where, how long did it take you to get going?
Our first deal we did within the first month.
Thanks.
I sometimes feel like it was luck, but then at the same time, there's that saying where it's, the harder you work, the luckier you get. And I just think if you put yourself in enough opportunities, anyone can go out and do one singular wholesale deal. And that's what you need to really kickstart everything. That $10,000, $15,000 deal, you reinvest that into the company and then you scale. And so our first deal, we found it on the market. Didn't really know what we were doing. We found a buyer through Facebook and made 15 grand. And we're like, all right, putting all this money back into the business. There's no fancy trips, no clothes, no nothing. It was
Not
back
yet.
to the business. So since then, though, yeah, I mean, there's lessons every single day that we run into. When you get to a certain amount of deals, it's just inevitable, So
Yeah. If you haven't run into any major problems, you probably haven't done that many deals yet, right?
Yeah.
So, dude, I got to know, like, how did we come across each other? How'd you hear about Novations? What was that kind of journey like?
That's this guy.
Yeah. So I was on Instagram Reels, which is getting really bad because I'm on it a lot. And then I think I saw one of your Reels and you were just talking. I didn't even know what you were doing at that point. But I was listening because I knew it was about real estate. I listened to that whole reel. This must have been like maybe 6 months ago to a year ago now. And then I clicked on your page. I kind of looked it over. I was kind of skeptical. We were like, what is this? I don't know if that makes sense. Is it illegal? So we kind of passed on it for about a month. And then I looked at it again, like it came up on the reels again. And I was like, you're doing another deal. You were talking to another seller. So I was like, okay, so he has something here. He's closing deals. I saw some of your proof. And then we just studied. We just looked at what you were doing, how you were performing. And then I don't know when we took the first step, but that's how I ran across you. I looked at what you're doing. I thought that, yeah, let's go put it on the market where we don't have to go find this cash buyer. We can find a buyer who's using a loan. Instead of doing cash deals, now we have access to a house that maybe doesn't need that much work and the seller is willing to take a discount, which happens to be a lot of deals. And so then we thought, hey, if we're going to scale like we want to, we need to know every part of the business. And Novations is one of them.
Nice. No, that's awesome. And you're not alone, right? Because I felt the same way when I first heard about Novations. It's like, what's the catch, right? Like, this sounds awesome. This is the thing I always wanted to do is just, man, what if I could just put this on the market and keep the difference? But, it seemed like the impossible thing. It seemed too good to be true, right? So that's crazy. Like, why don't you guys tell me, like, how long have you been like in the course and everything, and like what's like your Novation journey kind of been like? Have you guys got some deals to the finish line already, or what's that look like?
That's kind of the crazy part too, Rich, which I want to give props to you. We bought the course like July 3rd, July 2nd, and we're on August 3rd right now. So
Dang.
With your course, it's like, you literally cover everything. There's no guesswork involved. If you're already doing deals, you're just adding another tool to your tool belt. And honestly, one of the best tools, because this allows you to not only maximize the amount of money you're making on each deal, but it's also super streamlined. Like if you have, realtors to help you out and you have the right people in place, it actually takes the workload off of trying to sell your deals. In my opinion, there's a little paperwork involved, but you can outsource a lot of this stuff. So we've done since when we got the course, implemented it into our training with our acquisition guys, along with ourselves. I think we've closed as of today 3 deals, and then we have, I don't know, Rami, we have 1 more active right now?
We have 1 active, and a lot more just in the pipeline that we want to throw offers at. So
dang. So wait, you closed like 3 deals in 1 month? Like
two of those were like in the last couple days. So like we just closed 1 today and then 1 like 2 days ago. Yeah.
That's what I call taking action. Like you must have taken action immediately, because I know like it takes some time to like get all that stuff done. That's crazy.
We're already on the phone with sellers, so all it is just switching your pitch, really, like, and on how you're going to buy the house. So it was easy you implement it day 1, and it works. That's the props that goes to you, is like it's such you provide such a unique and easy way to explain to sellers what's going on, and it works.
If you're already a wholesaler, you're doing cash deals, and you've been doing it for a while, picking up Novations should be no problem, because it gets the seller more money. You have more access to buyers, so the deals hopefully can go faster. You're not looking for a cash buyer in a small area. You could list it really anywhere and help the seller in their situation. So I think you should definitely take on Novations if you're already doing wholesaling, or if you're not doing it right now.
I think like if you're already actively marketing too, like if the sellers have motivation, I think it opens up like a much bigger section of the population that you can now work with, where you're not just limited to the distressed sellers with distressed houses. It's like you're bringing in all these nicer houses and these sellers that they're still maybe in some sort of a personal situation normally, right? There's some sort of external factor, right? Because most people are just going to list with an agent, but it's opening up all these new opportunities that normally like we'd either like refer out or we just pass on it and say, hey, look, it's just too skinny to make this work off market. But now you can capitalize, and these sellers are, they're winning too, because they're not having to go through the traditional process or sell it for way less. So it's a win-win for everybody. That's killer. Well, sweet. Well, why don't you tell me out of these recent deals, maybe we can like run through one and you can just tell people like, what the whole process was from the lead coming in, the seller situation, how it went on market, and kind of the whole 9 yards.
Tell them, Rami, about Mulberry.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. I'll go over the easy one maybe first. It's funny. Before we bought the course, I kind of had an idea of how you were doing these, but I didn't really understand until we bought it. But I did make a Novation offer to somebody 2 months before we locked it up, we locked it up after we understood how, which is from buying the course. But when I made that offer, I wasn't really good at it. He ended up coming back at the follow-ups. You got to do the follow-ups. He remembered exactly what I said. He said, yeah, I'm ready now. Let's do it. And before I didn't even have to go over it again, he just signed it. We basically opened escrow. We had a realtor that we know and work with, and he's awesome. And he's got a really good photographer. Those are important. We got the listing agreements, everything we needed. We signed those, got the seller's disclosure. He did all that. and we were on the market. And so I think within 2 or 3 days, we had like 10 or 11 offers in a really nice area. So
yeah, Rich, this was the one I was telling you in, I think it was a week or a little over a week, 54 showings.
Oh yeah, that's crazy. I remember that. Yeah, you posted that. Was the seller in there? Was it vacant?
God.
No,
For some of
no.
them.
Yeah, he was out. He was out. He left for during that week, which was awesome. And so, yeah, we basically, a lot of those offers, and this is what a lot of people, I wasn't expecting this, but a lot of those offers were FHA and VA loans. Now this house, the roof needed to be replaced. It wasn't in the best condition. And so it was still, somebody could still live in it, but whoever's going to buy is going to need to put work in. And so, they were higher offers, the VA and the FHA, but we know those weren't going to pass. And so we had one conventional offer with half down. I think the purchase price was 210. They offered 220. And so, we took that offer, had the seller sign it, and that whole process. And so
tell
basically
them what it took to get the deal to close at the very end when you flew down here.
Oh yeah, we had to. So I mean, there was some stuff left behind. We had to go in there with a U-Haul and just take out the grill, and we had to throw away the beds. And there's just so many stuff we had to throw away. It was disgusting. But some deals are like you just do it on your computer, connect everyone, and you're good. But some deals you got to go in there with your hands and get stuff going. So that was, I would say, pretty easy. The seller, he just texted me earlier today. He got his payment. And he said, I can't thank you enough. Like, I would recommend this to anyone I come across. I'll recommend this to you guys. He was satisfied because he's gotten some lower offers. And I brought this up to him. He's like, yeah, I mean, if this is what I'm getting, I gave him a net amount. He said, let's do it. He was all on board, super. Everyone worked together. Now, this old Mulberry one that Josh is talking about, that one, and Rich, I'm sure you have done enough deals to, there's some sellers that are kind of skitsy and they're just kind of anxious and super like texting you what's going on, what's happening. And so that was one of those, right? So the seller is just, he's antsy and just kind of, he's not really calm, I would say. Sure. Anyways, a lot of things came up. The inspection went well, but we had to replace this oven or something, get it out of there because there was a pipe leak or whatever. But long story short, with that one, we ended up closing. And the seller had actually opened a new bank account, but had not deposited anything in there. And so when the wire came through, the account had shut down. And so it got stuck in this deactivated account. And he's calling everyone, just, where's my money? He's at the bank.
Called the news channel.
Yeah, he called the news channel.
Wow. The anxious guy on top of it.
Well, and he knew the bank had the money. It was just in a deactivated account. Now, luckily, the day after that, they fixed it. So he got his money. He's happy. I called him. He said, "I'm so sorry." He's saying like, "Hey, I'm sorry. I was just anxious. I got the money. Appreciate it." So it's scary selling house. A lot of people, this is their first and last time buying or selling a house, and so there's this new opportunity. They take it on. They don't know who you are still, maybe. And so eventually went to the finish line, but that one was pretty stressful because
like with these novations, it's extremely rewarding. I would say with cash deals, we do a fair amount of cash deals. They're averaging assignments of probably anywhere like around 15, 20 grand. But on novations, it's almost double, I'd say a little less than double so far for us. Just by switching the way you pitch it, and your process is a little different. But we'll say, as rewarding as these deals are, be prepared to learn a lot. We experienced a lot of title issues, so be prepared to deal with these types of things that are going to happen. But again, it's extremely rewarding. So if you're willing to put in a little extra work to almost double your assignment fees, then I'd say Novations is the way to go for sure.
I think you guys hit a couple really big points too, where you're saying the seller was anxious, they had anxiety, and a big part of adding value to them was reassuring them, keeping them calm, keeping them on the rails. And I think a lot of people don't realize how valuable that is to someone in that situation, right? Like when their head's messed up and they're anxious, to have someone there that has their back, they're walking through the process, they're a professional, they know what they're doing, they know they're a problem solver. Like people always ask, hey, do the sellers get mad when you make money? And They never do.
Nope.
No, they don't.
Very, very rarely. I can count like on one hand. It normally is from some sort of outside influence that ever does happen. But if you really just do it like it sounds like you guys are doing, where you're giving a high level of service, you're being transparent, you're setting the expectations, you're doing everything as planned, then when it's all over, like they're super happy. And you'll have some sellers that'll be like, man, I hope you guys are making a lot of money on this. And
oh yeah. I'll say this, as with these novations, you can't be sneaky. You can't be snaky. You got to tell them exactly what's going on. And you don't have to tell them what you're making, but just say, hey, you offer them a net amount. And if they're happy with that and you say, hey, this is an as-is sale, we're going to take it from A to Z. You don't have to worry about anything. You're going to walk away with X amount. Obviously, with the mortgage and taxes, that's going to get deducted. But you explain that. And then you say, hey, I'm going to get paid on this as a referral fee from the buyer. And if you're cool with the seller and they like you and you guys are communicating well and they understand the process, then they go to sign, there's no way they're gonna. I mean, there could be, but it's very unlikely for them to come back and say, hey, this is how much you're making, and get mad because they agreed that's what they're making. You told them ahead of time you're going to be making a certain amount of or X amount of money at the end. We don't know yet, whatever. But yeah, you can't be snaky. You just have to tell them exactly what's going on.
Oh, yeah, because if you're sneaky, they will get mad when you make money.
Oh, they will.
And it'll cause a lot of problems. I hear people talking about that, of trying to hide it. If the house is vacant, you may be able to get away with that for a while. But if you do enough deals, like, yeah, you can run into some real issues that way. And if it's occupied, I don't know how you're going to put it on the MLS and walk people through there and do all that without them knowing it. Like, this is my contractor and their kids, and you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's family and stuff. So, dude, that's awesome. So what were some things that kind of clicked when you were going through the process that you felt were like some game changers, where it kind of moved the needle and changed your perspective and turned out to be really useful?
You know, having a really good real estate agent is the difference between you making money and not. And I'll give you an example. The one, this one with the seller who was kind of frantic. You know, if I didn't have that realtor go in there and help me because we had to remove the oven, which was kind of stuck into the ground because they had put some new flooring in. I couldn't explain it all, but she was amazing. And she went in there with her husband and kind of helped to remove that and calm the seller down and coordinate with him on showings. She kind of understood what was going on. And so she didn't really come across as a realtor, but rather somebody who's helping in a way. Which is fine. It just helps the seller kind of calm down and not worry about everything. And so, you know, having a good realtor, especially these ones in Texas with a realtor that we know, you know, he has a really good photographer. And so he gets in there, he takes really good pictures, which lets your listing stand out. And you get more walkthroughs, you get more opinions, more feedback. So I think finding that perfect realtor, maybe not perfect, but at least someone you trust and you've seen previous listings. And I'll tell you what, a realtor who picks up the phone on the first call and super kind and super sweet, it tends to be that one that you're going to work with, just because, I mean, in this realtor, she answers all the phone calls, all the texts, all the emails within 10, 20 minutes. And it was amazing. It helped this process be much easier. So yeah, I'd say having a good realtor.
And that realtor can also be like another tool when you're doing these novations. Let's say, like for us, we do a lot of them in Texas and Florida. So like we're not trying to touch every single state at this point. So like we have a handful of states where we're marketing in for sellers. And, you know, if you have a realtor where you do a lot of, let's say, novations in Texas, trusting that realtor, I can send them the deal and before, you know, get their opinion on what they think it's going to sell for before I've even got it, you know, locked up as a real deal. So you go into it with way more confidence. Also, like, honestly, it does take the workload off a little bit. If I send him a couple of Novation deals a day and I'm like, hey, what do you think about this, he'll get back to me. And you know, these realtors, if they're smart, they understand that this is a very beneficial, long lasting relationship. It's consistent business of sellers who are already locked up and ready to sell, and we just need their help. So, you know, this is also a great opportunity for realtors, you know, to partner up with people like us.
Oh, absolutely. So for them, they're getting a client that they didn't have to spend any money to find, right? Mm-hmm. That wants to sell quick, that's reasonable and realistic on the price, and will actually listen to their expert advice, right? Because the good realtors, part of their battle is they're dealing with homeowners that are emotional and they're basing it off of their situation. It's not like a logical transaction in the same sense as it is with someone like us, right? So yeah, no, it's killer. And we've had realtors too that we've worked with, and I've referred them to some of the people in the group. And it's like they'll call me and they're like, Rich, like you have transformed my business. Like this guy that you sent me, we're doing 4 deals, and we've got this other guy, he's doing 5 deals. And they're like, look, I'm bringing on a transaction coordinator. Like I'm running out of bandwidth, and it's awesome. And everybody wins. And yeah, the realtor really is your partner. They're your third partner on the deal. They're taking all the late calls. They're going down to the house when you need to. And as a general rule, I don't have them mix a whole lot with the seller. But like you were saying, like in a time of crisis, to be able to have someone over there with your interests where they can meet face to face with them, calm them down. Sometimes they'll help fix things. They have the vendors, you know what I mean? They have the local expertise. Like it's invaluable. And the best part is you don't have to train them, and they only get paid when you get paid. So it's like,
Right.
Yeah, we had such a good experience with one realtor where this is where it's like where you realize how important it is to build relationships with these people, because it's also can be beneficial to you.
Yeah, the realtor thing is a major hack because it basically takes the back end and it takes 90% of the work off of you. And now you're just making decisions, paying for stuff if you need to, and then listening to their advice, you know what I mean? But there's been so many deals where their advice and their insight either save the deal or save me a bunch of money, and I can lean on them. And they teach me a lot of stuff too, you know, because it's a complicated business. The retail side's a lot different than wholesaling. So dude, that's awesome. Well, what would you guys say? You don't have to give me exact numbers or anything, but like so far in your first month, where are you at profit-wise on these novations?
Go for it, Rami. He's the numbers guy.
I love numbers.
I know it's not a polite thing to ask, but this is just right?
So
the people just to see what's possible.
Yeah, first month. So again, that one. So we had 3 novations closed. One of them was so small. I mean, we barely even count it. The 2 that we did close, again, accepting offers within 3 days, went through inspection, everything, and we closed. I think on Friday, Monday, or Tuesday within those 3 days. We're up 50 on those 2, and then we have one more.
We got killed on concessions. That's another.
Oh
thing
yeah,
we got smacked. Also, here's a tip for you wholesalers: when you get a concession, keep in mind that, and it's up to you, but keep in mind the realtor still gets paid on the original purchase price. So like we had a situation where the concession was rather large, and so it made a considerable difference. Knowing that we didn't calculate that he was going to be getting paid his commission off of the final sale price, which all in all is fine. We're happy to do that. But just keep that in mind when you're accepting concession. Yeah, concession is like a realtor's price drop. So, you know, don't be surprised when they happen. That's why when we do novations, like Rich says, you know, it's usually like sometimes we'll risk it on like a 20 grand profit, but 30 grand is like really that sweet spot in case you get these concessions. Like we had, on the very first novation, we had was it 20 grand concession or 10, Rami?
No, it was 10.
Oh, 10. Okay. Yeah. We had a 10 grand concession, which if you're leaving yourself $10,000 or $20,000 in profit, take 10 away, you still have closing costs, realtor fees. It can really tighten up a deal. So
for sure,
be prepared for that.
For sure. Yeah. You want to make sure you have at least 30 after the realtors get paid when you lock it up.
Right.
So 90% of as is retail minus at least 30 grand. And that gives you some margin for error and everything too. So
yeah.
We have one more listed novation right now. Now that one could also be a new record. That one we are expecting 40. We don't know if that's going to happen. We'd have to first get the offer, see if they try and get a concession. But yeah, in total, I mean, if this one that we have listed closes, we're basically at 100,000 in 2 months with novations.
Making $100,000 in a year is great, but in a month off of a strategy where these deals, right, they would have been nothing. Like had you guys waited another month to get started, these probably would have been in the trash can, these deals, right? And 100 grand. That's crazy, man.
Here's the since you bring that up, the best part about, so the one Rami's talking about that's listed, I talked to this lady sometime last year, probably almost a year ago at this point. And one other thing about Novations is, like, we're here to solve problems. We were under contract with this lady for probably about 3 months before we actually went live, because we were behind the scenes. We were helping her resolve like a court issue. She had a whole probate situation, which I won't get into, but we are, not only are we problem solvers, but this deal specifically, was not working for a traditional cash sale. That's why she sat in our CRM for 8 months, because it just didn't work as a traditional cash deal. When you pitch it as a novation, now we're looking at this being a new company record if it closes. And then the seller, which I could tell you so many stories about this seller. I literally, we're friends. Like, me and this seller have been through thick and thin together. She taught me how to build terrariums, which I have one on my desk right here. But this seller is so grateful because we took the opportunity to learn Novations. We're putting her in such a good situation. Like, her house is facing foreclosure because she couldn't afford it after her husband died. And as we pitched the Novation, you will never believe, at the very end of my pitch, her response was that her deceased husband was sitting in the living room with her. She heard all of it. He heard all of it. And she said that he's sitting there applauding me for being able to buy her house, all because we learned how to do a Novation. Otherwise, she would still be in our CRM with probably marked as bad lead.
Oh, man. Or she would have eventually caved and sold it for pennies on the dollar to you or someone else. It would have came out behind, and it probably would have been not that profitable of a deal either for everybody. So
it allowed us to basically give her what she was asking. And then we looked at the margins, and me and Rami made a decision. We're like, man, we're making a lot on this. Like, let's just give her $5,000 more than what she's asking. And so we did that because the deal made sense, and you feel for these people. And like I said, we've been through a lot, so I know her personal situation. I know that $5,000 will go a long way for her as well.
Wow. Now, do you see Novations as, looking forward? Do you think this is going to end up being like a pretty significant revenue stream for you guys? Is this opening up some new opportunities?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it already has, but it will continue. Yeah.
And what kind of marketing are you guys doing? You have cold callers, PPC?
We haven't gotten into PPC. We've set up the campaigns. We just haven't clicked run. But yeah, we're literally doing everything. I mean, we have direct mail campaigns, cold calling, SMS. What we're really good at, and everyone should be good at this, is your follow-up. We dedicate a certain amount of hours each day to following up, and that's where the majority of our deals come from, because we tend to pick up leads with more sticky situations that other wholesalers will just be like, I don't want to deal with litigation, like they're in a lawsuit, or there's an eviction or whatever is going on. We happen to look at those as opportunity to help them and also be able to buy the house.
Dude, I love it. Because, we hear a lot about people doing PPC with these, and, you get conversions with that. But there's lots of people that are going off cold call leads, SMS. Like, the lead source doesn't matter, because the lead source is just reaching out to human being, and you just have to get in the right humans that have problems to solve. And I think that's awesome that you take on all the ugly, like all the complicated ones that nobody else wants. It's like you're their last hope, right? Like you're the last stop. So, dude, that's awesome, man. And dude, so you guys are fresh out of college. You just did you're about to do $100K a month. You got 50 already closed. You're rocking and rolling. Like, is your team virtual, or you've got some other guys like a fraternity out there, or what's your team look like?
Hey, we're hiring actually.
Yeah.
Nice.
So for the longest time, it was just me and Josh, and it got to a point where it was just, there was so much coming at us that we needed to relieve some of that and give it away to some people. And so most of our marketing is now done by other people. And then we get those prospects in, or leads. And then we have some guys on acquisitions now. And we're just we're kind of in that expansion phase now, where we're just kind of filling people in spots and then letting it run for itself. As for fraternity brothers, no, we don't. I recently just graduated, I was at a point where I was considering just kind of dropping out because we were doing this 2 years ago, and so I decided to just kind of stick it through and finish it. And then, here we are at this point. I'm done with that, and so we're just looking for talent to fill in on our team.
Wholesaling's not it's not hard. It's I feel like anyone can wholesale, like figure out how to talk to sellers and get the right leads, but if you're talking about turning it from like a side hustle to a full-time business where like not only does it support me and Rami, but it supports our employees. I know, we have people that are relying on us even overseas. And so the hardest thing that we faced is building a team. We found success reaching out to college students and just training them from the start. But I'd love to hear your perspective on like any tips you have for hiring a good team or hiring good help. And as you grow, like you'll get burnt out if you try to do it all yourself. So you're gonna have to give up some profit and just replace that with the right help.
I can give you my perspective, right? So my perspective is, first, you have to decide what your ultimate goal is, right? Some people, they have an ultimate goal where they want to build a big team, right? Like I've heard this before of like, you have to decide, do you want a big ship or a small ship? Now with a big ship or a small ship, you can make millions of dollars and get everything that you want, right? Because I know people that have 2 employees that are making a couple $1 million a year, 2, 3, and then maybe a couple virtual. I know people that have big offices that are making lots of money. I also know people with big offices that aren't making lots of money. You know what I mean? And like, you have to decide like, what is your ultimate goal of the business, right? So it's different for everybody because there's so many different ways you can do it. I think you just have to decide like, ultimately, what kind of lifestyle do you want? And then 2, you're going to have to, for anybody, whether you have a team or whatnot, you're going to have to connect with other people if you want to scale. Because the most amount of deals you can do on your own, it's probably maybe like 4 or 5 a month, right? By yourself. And if you have a partner, you can each probably do that many too, right? Maybe more, right? But if you're doing all the work yourself, like you're going to be running yourself ragged, right? As soon as you stop, all your current deals, like if you go on vacation, all your current deals are like getting on hold and falling apart, and there's no new deals coming in
right
the day that you stop working. I would just say whatever you do it your way and build your culture the way you want to have it. And then the right people will come into play with that. You don't have to build it the way you think it's supposed to be, because you're going to be spending a lot of time with them. You want to make sure you're working with people that you like and they see the vision and they respect you. And it could be a mutually beneficial thing. Like you see some magic in them, they see some magic in you, you put it together and you both elevate together. And then you can build out leaders too, right? Because that's the ultimate thing, is getting good people and then having them bring on their own people they can raise up. And then eventually it takes a lot of the pressure off of you. You know what I mean? Where you're not just constantly grind. You're working on the business and you've got leadership within. So like once you make it out of the rat race, I think it kind of is our responsibility for anyone that's willing to put in the work, at least show them the way. And then if they fail and they give up, at least you try. Like you gave them a fair shot. You know what I mean?
So we have right now 2 younger guys on our team, and there's literally nothing more gratifying than like seeing them close deals, and especially knowing like when you bring them from like very, very minimal sales experience, if any, to closing like 20, 30 grand deals. Like you're literally watching your company and you're helping this person change their life essentially. So that's where it becomes like like you were saying, once you've escaped kind of the rat race, it allows you to take your eyes off yourself. When you put the work in, like me and Rami had our heads down for a year and a half doing everything ourselves from A to Z. Once you're able to actually escape that, it allows you to not really care about the extra money you would have made, knowing that you can not only help that other person make that money instead, but also allows you to step away a little bit and work on actually being able to present that opportunity to more people and grow the company and allow that more people to be in that position.
Absolutely. And the more people you get, you'll get to a point where like if you got 20 guys closing deals, I don't care how good that you are, like they're going to outperform you as a solo person. You know what I mean? So the scalability, the tricky thing with this business is you can make a lot of money compared to a regular job with only like closing a couple deals a month. So it's very
Right.
easy to just get used to that. Like, okay, I'm making 30 to 50, 60, 70 grand a month. Like, dude, I'm rich. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if you don't come from money, you're making that type of money. You're like, okay, cool. I'm going to work 4 hours a day now. You know what I mean? Or whatever. But yeah, to keep your foot on the gas and realize too, like, yo, who knows how long this window is going to be open of the real estate
Right.
market being good, the economy being good. AI is coming. I don't know if our robot overlords are going to take over and make us their house cat soon. Like, you know what I mean? So we have the opportunity to make money now in a way that we couldn't in any point of human history, right? With technology and all this. So we really got to run it up. Like, we owe it to our ancestors that got us here to like really take the bull by the horns, because they fought and clawed just to survive. And now we're here doing what we're doing, you know, living comfortably. So
Signing paperwork.
making phone calls, sending DocuSigns, calling agents. Dude, that's crazy though, man. Dude, you guys have such a cool story. I didn't realize you were childhood friends too. It sounds like you guys like grew up together, right?
Yeah.
You know, you didn't get
Childhood enemies.
Childhood enemies, yeah. You were rivals and now you're business partners. So like, let's say someone watching this, right? Maybe they're a wholesaler and they want to work with you on some deals, or what can people reach out to you for? Like what kind of what are you looking for value wise?
Say like definitely JV deals. Like I mentioned earlier, we're looking for talent. Like we're looking for acquisitions, dispositions. The company's growing, and so like JV deals, like if it's a deal, we'll get it sold. That's without a doubt. And we're just here to help the community, man. So like if someone's got any question about how to do something, or we said something in this podcast or this video chat where they want to know more about it, like, we're just here to help out. But definitely like we're looking for talent and we're looking to close deals.
Nice. And that's novation or wholesale deals, because you guys still do a good amount of wholesale deals.
Yeah. The majority of what we do right now is cash deals. So
nice.
Like if you have a deal in Texas, there's a fair chance we have a buyer. If you have a deal specifically in Houston or Fort Worth, I already know who's buying that deal. So like consider it sold. But yeah, like we run Texas. We like Florida as well. But we can pretty much get anything sold. We've done stuff in Missouri, Ohio. You name it. So
I love it, man. Well, dude, I know you guys have had a long day. We're getting to the end of the day. I definitely appreciate you hopping on here. I appreciate you sharing your story too. You know what I mean? Like, people are definitely going to get value out of this. It's so cool to see like all the different types of people that are killing it with Novations now. You know what I mean? We've got young, old, everything in between, all these different walks of life, lots of business experience, no business experience. So it's such a cool thing, is like, if you're willing to put in the work, you can get the results. And you guys are living proof, man. I love what you're doing, and you both are just cool dudes too. You got good energy. So
yeah, I would say before we get going here, if anyone's considering Novations, which if you're considering it, like hopefully this helped you like persuade you that is the right way to go if you're already wholesaling. You can learn it on your own, but if you want to speed up the process and do 2 or 3 deals in a month like we were able to, you should definitely buy the course. I mean, I'm not getting told to say this, but just literally how I feel is it speeds up the learning curve. You can sit there and bang out all the videos in a day or two, and after that you will feel ready to pitch Novations. So if you're on the fence, I haven't found any better way to learn it than from Rich. So appreciate you, Rich.
Appreciate you, man. Thanks, Rami, too, man. Pleasure chatting with you guys. And yeah, we'll definitely be in touch and talk to y'all soon, man.